Howdy, everyone. Tad Stevens on the Micro Success Secrets podcast, where we focus on business, psychology, and marketing, and how you can use that in your business daily and long term. Today, I'm talking with Barbara Kline, who's a certified business broker and associate broker with Absolute Investment Realty, which is a commercial real estate firm in Albuquerque, New Mexico. She was a serial entrepreneur for many years prior to getting her first certification as a business broker. She's founded numerous companies, including Breakthru Communications, a public relations firm specializing in promoting technology and technology companies, also a day spa, an event center, and a publishing company. She has worked internationally, spending 3 years in Brussels with Intel and 1 year as VP of Global Marketing for a Dutch software company. So, Barbara, welcome to the podcast, and let me know if I missed anything.
I think you did a great job, Ted. Thank you.
All right. Excellent. Well, then let's get started. I like asking this question first. It's one of my faves. If you could get in a time machine and you can go back in your business or your life and you could change one decision, and whatever it is, it could be a life decision, business decision, combination, whatever. But if you could change it, first of all, would you change it? And second, if you would change it, what would you change it to?
Well, I think the decision that I would really work on is getting more knowledge about how businesses are operated sooner. You saw I was a serial entrepreneur. I am working with businesses now and helping them, exit. And the thing that I have discovered, both for myself and for a lot of people, is you start a business because you have a technical capability.
Yep.
And most of the time, people get caught up in kind of the day-to-day of the business and never step back and learn those things that can make a huge difference in terms of the success of the business and also what they can get out of it as their exit strategy. I think it would have made a huge difference if I had studied business a lot sooner than I did.
And I hear that a lot. A lot of people, there's not really anything, they wouldn't change it other than they would start sooner. I mean, that is the most common response. And I'm in that same tribe. I mean, I wished I had started this sooner. I wished I had looked more at not just business, but being entrepreneurial. And like you said, when I started, I got into it as a technician and I was really good at it. I really liked it. And I looked up one day and I thought, I've worked myself into a job. How did I do this?
Yeah, absolutely. Being entrepreneurial is great. I wouldn't change a thing that I've done as far as the businesses that I've started. But, when I was starting out, somebody told me that if you could read a profit and loss statement and a balance sheet, it would tell you everything you needed to know about the business. And I, of course, as a technology snob, did not believe that for a single minute, but it happens to be, I think, the single best piece of advice I ever got.
Okay, excellent. Well, that kind of relates to the next question is, if you could go back in that time machine again and you could look at the business or life decisions that you've made that worked out just super positive. I mean, something that just, you look back at it and it's a dividing line. You look at your life as everything before it and everything after it. Do you have one of those? And if so, would you share that?
Well, it's a little bit more than one, but the concept is the same, which is risk taking. Every time I've taken a big risk, it has worked out. When I left school, I moved to Seattle for a bunch of reasons that had nothing whatsoever to do with having a job there. And it happened to be a really difficult time in Seattle. It took me a while to find a job, but I found a job where the folks that brought me on saw that I had done some programming work as getting myself through school with a sociology degree. And they decided that I would be a marvelous programmer. And they started me on a career that really changed my life. And if I hadn't been willing to say, first of all, go to Seattle, and second of all, say, yeah, sure, if you want me to run your computer department, I can do that.
Yep.
And later on, an ex-boyfriend told me that I should really apply to Intel, which was a kind of young and very exciting, very daunting company at
Mm-hmm.
the time. And
Yeah.
I became the first woman that they hired for a professional position in their microprocessor operation. And the third really major risk that I took was telling them that I wanted to move to Europe to help them open their marketing department there, which was awesome. So going for those risks as opposed to sitting around and doing a might have been later, I think has been one of the best things that's ever happened to me.
I think so. And on a totally other show someday, I would love to hear about Brussels. For some reason, I just think Brussels is so cool. And hopefully we'll get over there if we ever get back to semblance of normal travel. But yes, no, I mean, I totally agree with that. Taking the risks, and I've taken several in my life that some worked out and some didn't work out, but still looking back, I think I'd still take the risk again. I mean, even if it didn't work out, I think I'd still do it.
I agree. And I'll be happy
So
to share Brussels with you. It was a wonderful city to live in.
it's always sounded like it to me. I mean, I don't know what it is about it, but the allure or the charm or my fantasy of it is just awesome. So hopefully the city's just as good. So related to that, and this happens, I believe, to a lot of people, and a lot of people don't take those risks that we're talking about. They get stuck.
Right.
And so when you come upon those decisions, do you have a method or a process, or how do you just go about looking at that decision and getting through it, over it, around it, whatever, but getting unstuck and just keep moving? Do you have anything that you'd share like that?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
All right.
I look at that a lot. I've changed careers several times. I mean, anybody that listened to my intro can tell that I have not had one career for my entire professional life. And when I move into something new, I mean, most of the time it's fairly daunting. There are things that have to be learned, accepted. And what I do is just school myself to keep on going, essentially break things down so that I find a couple of things that are really short-term rewarding so that I can feel like I got through the day, but then continue to chip away at those longer-term items which are necessary in order to be successful. And, every once in a while, I have to take a break and step back and think for a little bit. But, essentially, it's just finding those pieces that I can do every day so that I feel like I've accomplished something, even if I'm discouraged or any of those other negative things that come up when you're questioning yourself.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Excellent. Excellent. So last question is, knowing what you know now, and say something happened like a global pandemic, or you decided to move to Brussels, or whatever it was, but it was kind of a start over. Would you keep doing what you're doing now, or do you think you'd do something different?
No, I think I would keep on doing what I'm doing now. I think probably the most challenging move that I made was moving from Silicon Valley to New Mexico, and that's a story in and of itself. But when I moved to New Mexico, it was a time when a lot of people thought that New Mexico was going to be kind of the next Silicon whatever out there,
Yeah.
and it's not. It's got its own personality and skill set, and it took me a while to pivot. That was where I did my day spa and my event center and some of the other things that I did, looking for a place in a new environment. And I probably, if somebody had approached me with it a little bit earlier, I would have gone into commercial real estate and business brokerage earlier, because I am enjoying it tremendously. It is really rewarding.
Okay. So maybe just Would have done it sooner.
Would have done it sooner.
Okay. Okay. And again, I want to mention for the listeners is, and I keep mentioning this every time we hear it, because that is the most common answer to a lot of these questions is whatever it was, I just would have done it sooner. And I have the same answer. So
Right.
I really appreciate that. So thank you very much. Really appreciate all the time and the sharing that you've done. And I still want to ask you about Brussels someday. Is there anything you'd like to close with? Anything that you want to leave the listeners and viewers with?
Well, I think if I was going to close with something, it would be, make sure you get the help that you need for whatever situation you're working in. I think mentoring and being a mentee is one of the most important things that anybody can do.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a large part of what I do in my work right now, and I am available to talk to anybody, any place in the country. I feel that the small business people are the key to the success of the country. This has been a tough time,
Mm-hmm.
and anything I can do to be supportive, I'm happy to do.
Okay, super. Appreciate that. And I'll make sure after we get off, if you'll send me your contact information, I'll make sure that's in the show notes and in the description whenever we post it, the recording or the video. So thanks again, Barbara. Really, really appreciate it. Thanks to everybody for listening in. Have a safe and productive week and be the very, very best at whatever it is you're doing. Until next time, this is Tad Stevens with Micro Success Secrets. Bye for now.